So it's my pleasure to be able to help. My approach is I ask the audience, who nurtured you through infancy? Your mother. Who changed your nappies? Your mother. Who always said to you when you're a teenager, watch out for girls? Your mother. Who did you run to when your mother gave you a row? Your granny. So the women in our lives tended to be the people who shaped the sort of people we are. And of course, Burns was a great lover of the Lassies. You know? And there's a lovely poem by Burns. It's called Green Grow the Rashes O. And in that, he says in the last verse, all nature swears, her lovely dears, her noblest work she classes o. Her prentice hand she tried on man, and then she made the Lassies o. So we were the mistake, the Lassies were perfection. But I then move on after 5 minutes to quoting some of the verses from Burns' love songs and poems, and saying how much he influenced other writers, even like Bob Dylan, owed a great tribute to Robert Burns, and maybe quote from a song called My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. And I acknowledge the fact that in my generation, your generation, most of the pop songs we grew up with were in all probability love songs. No, by and large. And I quote a lovely verse from John Denver's song, Annie's song, that you fill up my senses. And I use that to say there are still people today writing the most beautiful words in praise of women. Burns was very, very much way ahead of his time in his support for women, because he wrote a lovely poem called The Rights of Women. When Europe's eye is fixed on mighty things, the fates of empires and the fall of kings, above all these, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. So he wrote this in something like 1792, way ahead of his time, and thinking that women should have the same rights as men. So that's just a wee flavour of, certainly for a toast to the Lassies. And, you know, keep it restricted to 15, 18, 20 minutes, absolute maximum. Not just, Burns didn't only love women, he fell in love with women. And that's very different. Although he's very happily married, his wife Jean was a very long-suffering, tolerant lady. And she had to be. And sometimes a verse or two wasn't all that he left them. Because he had a number of illegitimate children as well. The very first one into the world was, he was only about 20 years of age, and his mother brought that child up in her own home. Towards the end of his life in Dumfries, he had an affair with a girl called Anna Park, who was what you and I would call a barmaid in his local tavern called the Globe. And she became pregnant by him. But she was only 20 years of age. And Burns, his wife, Jean, reared this illegitimate child as one of her own. I grew up through in Ayr, which is where he was born. And in fact, there's now a suburb there called Alloway, where the very building in which he was born is still there to this day. And my aunt and uncle used to live straight across the road from Burns Cottage, which was built by his father. So I played there as a child. It was just somewhere for me to play. So Burns has always been an integral part of my life. With family gatherings back before TV came on the go, back in the 1950s, we had social gatherings with the family, and we sung. We sung songs with an accordion and a fiddle. My granny Shields, used to talk about Robert Burns as though she knew him personally. She was a most remarkable woman. Although I was too young to appreciate the emotion contained in them, I learned the words as a child and as a teenager. And only later on in life, when you have your own personal relationships and the breakdown and all the things that happen in our lives as adults, you can really begin to understand the emotion that he put in to the songs he wrote. You know? It's a big international movement, the Robert Burns World Federation. I feel wherever I go, the people I meet are just part of what I refer to as my Burns family.
Would you mind just offering a blessing or a toast to our friends Kevin and Francisco?
What are the names again?
Kevin and Francisco.
So you think
Kevin and Francisca. Well, let me just say to all who are gathered tonight for this very special event to celebrate the work, the poems and the songs of an internationalist called Robert Burns. A man whose work transcends race, creed and colour. A man who wrote for all conditions of mankind throughout the whole world. A man whose spirit is brought in with the tide and washes up on the shores of our very hearts once you know his works. And I wish all of you there tonight a time of friendship and fun and laughter. And I hope sometime in the future to have the honour of sharing it with you. So my blessings and good luck to you all.